Hey guys, it's November the 13th, 2025, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful day so far today. If you are new here, thank you so much for being here and welcome. We are glad to have you. And like I was talking about in yesterday's short that I posted up, this is a place of no judgment. This isn't one of those places where there's a bunch of, people calling each other names in the comments and giving each other a hard time and stuff like that. I just don't put up with stuff like that here on the channel. This is a place for us all to come together, help each other out, maybe, swap secrets with each other about, things that we've done to help us through the withdrawals and stuff like that. Place for us to encourage each other, to prop each other up. This is not a place to beat each other up, call each other names, put each other down, things like that. So once again, if you're new here to the channel, please feel free to comment on any of the videos. Like I said, this is a really great community of really nice people that are all like-minded, and they're all here for the same reason. Either they're here because, they are in active addiction or were in active addiction at some point in their life, or there's a lot of people here that aren't in active addiction. They have family members that once were or are right now, currently. And there's people that don't have any problems with anything. They just like the content, and they're just here to hang out. And I appreciate each and every single person that's here for whatever reason you're here. It's great to have you, and I really appreciate you coming here and watching today's video. So thank you so much. Once again, welcome to the channel. It's great to have you. So let's go ahead and dive into today's video. And I did a short earlier just to kind of, get the video for today going. And I plan on doing a short every day as well, just to try to get, more and more attention out here, for people that want to learn about, alcoholism or AUD, addiction, whatever. Maybe they have, like I said, I have a family member who, has a problem, or maybe they have a problem themselves. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is the, non-alcoholic beverages, non-alcoholic beers, things like that, and if they're a good idea or not. And, that all depends on you. Really and truthfully, it's all whatever you're comfortable with. I'm not going to say either way. It might be there's a lot of people out there who drink non-alcoholic beers or mocktails and things like that, and they get along just fine. And for those people, I am so happy for you. I wish that I could. I would love to have a non-alcoholic beer. I enjoy the taste of beer. And just because it doesn't have alcohol in it doesn't mean that I wouldn't enjoy it. But the problem with myself is, which I'm going to get into here in just a second, is that I tried that in the past. I'm sorry, I've got something in my eye. But I tried that in the past, and it did not work out for me. And I know myself all too well. I'm the type of person that's always looking for a loophole. I'm always looking for a way in. If there's a way for me to slide in and, be able to get, my way into whatever it is, like I said, finding a loophole, I'm going to find it. When it came to alcohol, it just became such a problem for me, especially when it came down to the non-alcoholic beverages. Because like I said, there was a period of time when I was using non-alcoholic beers as a method to quit. And, I had my wife on board with the whole thing. She was all about it. She was super happy for me. And I was actually able to use non-alcoholic beers as a method to cut back drastically for quite a while. As a matter of fact, I actually quit for about a week using the non-alcoholic beers. But what ended up happening, like always, like I said, I found a loophole. And I'll never forget the day that it happened. I'd been drinking non-alcoholic beers for quite a while, probably about a month. And I was using them to supplement in between. I would, have a beer and then I would have a non-alcoholic beer. Or I'd have a drink and then I'd drink a non-alcoholic beer. And I was, instead of drinking a drink right after I had, one drink, I would drink a non-alcoholic beer and just kind of spread my drinks out a little bit better. And it really did work in the beginning. But then it got to a point where I cut the alcohol completely out and was just drinking the non-alcoholic beers. And like I said, that went on for about a week. And like I said, I remember the day that it happened. My brother gave me a call and asked me if I wanted to go on a fishing trip with him. And I said, yeah, I'd love to go fishing with you. It was in the middle of the winter time. I remember it was so cold outside. And my brother's got a really fast bass boat. So we went out and got on the river. We hauled butt down the river. It was so cold. I remember freezing on that boat that day. But that morning when I was driving over to his house to meet him, I'd stopped by the store. I already had a cooler in my Jeep that had non-alcoholic beers in there. And they were all the green bottle. I'll just say that. I really don't like saying names of the alcohol if I can avoid it, but it was the green bottle 00, if you guys know what that is. And by the way, that one right there, if it's something that you really want to do, the green bottle 00, if you were to hand that to somebody and say it was a real beer, like if you were to take the label off and put a real label on there and you gave that to someone, they would not be able to tell the difference. That's how close, how similar the two of those are, between the real one and the fake one. They taste exactly the same. You would not be able to tell the difference. And for anybody out there who's tried those, I mean, I'm not kidding. They really do taste genuine. But I had a whole bunch of those green bottle beers in my cooler, and they were the non-alcoholic kind. I stopped by the gas station on the way to my brother's house that morning and bought 2 Deuces, or whatever they got. That might be a 20 ounce, or maybe it was a 16 ounce, but it was the really big cans of the type of beer that comes in the green bottle. And I just threw those in my cooler. Why I bought those, I don't even know. I had already gotten, a weekend of sobriety, and I had cut back throughout the past month and was doing really well for myself. But for whatever reason, that morning, I stopped by the gas station and grabbed 2 of them, threw them in my cooler, got on the boat with my brother, and I drank the non-alcoholic beers for the majority of the day with him. And then it got to a place where my brother had been drinking beer on the boat the whole time, and he knew that I was drinking non-alcoholic beers. But watching him drinking, and I could see the shift in his personality and how he was getting a little looser, and I guess that just really struck home with me, and I wanted to feel that way too. I just wanted to get a nice little buzz like he was feeling. I wanted to feel happy and loose and all my problems just melt away. So, like I said, I'll never forget it. I was on the boat. I was in the very back of the boat. I had one of those soft coolers with me, and I lifted up the lid, and I took one of the bottles that I had been drinking out of that had non-alcoholic beer in it, and inside of the cooler, so that my brother couldn't see what I was doing, I kind of lifted up the lid and was back behind the cooler doing what I was doing. He was on the front of the boat fishing. He wasn't paying attention to what I was doing back there, and I started to fill up one of my, because I didn't have a cup or anything on me, so just something in my head said, just fill up one of these empty bottles with that beer. So I cracked open the beer can, filled up the empty bottle, and went on to drink that beer, and man, was it good. I went ahead and finished both of those tall boys that I had in my cooler, and we got off the river for the day. Well, on my way home from being at my brother's house, with my brother, I stopped and got some more beer. Went home that afternoon. I had saved all the non-alcoholic empty beer bottles from that day, and I had the caps on me as well. So when I got home that afternoon, I took all of those empty bottles, washed them out real quick, and then filled them up with real beer, bent the caps back so they looked legit, and popped them back on the bottles and put them in my fridge inside of the 6-pack. And that afternoon or evening, I went ahead and drank like another 6-pack of beer. I drank a couple more beers throughout that afternoon because I didn't have to worry about it. My wife wasn't home yet. But by the time that she got home, well, guess what I was drinking? I was drinking non-alcoholic beers. There was a whole 6-pack of them in the refrigerator that I'd filled up with real beer. Well, that worked surprisingly well. And like anything else, when, little stuff like that worked out for me, guess what? I continued to do it every single day. It was just like, my hiding places back in the day. If I found a good hiding place, I kept sticking my stuff there over and over and over again. Even if my wife found the stuff there, for some reason, I would go back to that same hiding place when I was intoxicated. I just wasn't thinking. I mean, that just shows where our minds are at when we're drunk. But, once again, I found something that worked, so I kept doing it every single day. I'd go to the store, buy beer, I'd get it in the big cans or whatever I would buy it in. I would come back home because I saved all the empty bottles. I would fill those back up with beer and put them in the fridge. It got to the point because my wife would take all my empties and throw them away. If she saw I was saving them, she was like, why is he saving these empty bottles? So she'd trash them. So every once in a while, I would have to go to the store and buy a 6-pack or 2 6-packs of non-alcoholic beers. I'd go home and I would pour all that beer out, all of it. And we're talking about, for any of you guys that are familiar with non-alcoholic beers, they're more expensive than the regular beer. So, you're looking at like $12, $14 for a 6-pack. And I just wasted it all. I just wanted the empty bottles so I could fill them back up. I'd go to the store, like I said, buy a 6-pack or 2 6-packs of the NA beer, pour it all out, fill them back up with beer again, put the caps back on. And I would make sure, too, that when I took those caps off, that I was very, very careful with them so I didn't bend them too much. I would kind of go around the bottle like this very easily and then pop the cap off, pour out the beer, fill it. I'd put a funnel in there, fill it all the way back up, pop that cap back on and put them in the fridge. And then I knew I had a whole night of my wife not being upset with me because I'm drinking non-alcoholic beer. I'm not drinking real beer. And the thing about it is, too, is that my wife got so excited about it. Because I went on drinking non-alcoholic beer for quite a while. And I did a pretty good job, too, of maintaining myself and not allowing myself to get, completely wasted drunk. I was drinking liquor during that period of time as well, but not as much as I usually did because I knew that my wife would pick up on it. And I knew she could smell the liquor easier than she could smell the beer on me. So, I would sneak shots of Fireball here and there, but I just wasn't smashing, half gallons of vodka every day. I might have had a drink here and there, but I just wasn't drinking like that. But it finally got to a point, like always with myself, to where I just took it too far. My wife came home one day. I was smashed drunk, passed out in the bedroom. It was one of my days off. She came home, and my wife could always, as soon as she hit the front door, if I was drinking liquor, she could smell it, especially vodka. She hit the door that day. She could smell the vodka in the house. I was passed out in the bed. She went in there and saw me, could smell the vodka in the bedroom. She knew immediately. And I think that day as well, I had left my bottle of vodka just sitting on the kitchen counter, if I'm thinking correctly. But either way, I got caught. And, the whole scenario just got thrown out the window. I couldn't, lie or hide it anymore. I think I admitted to my wife what I'd been doing that night. I don't really remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure I just admitted to her what had been going on. And that's what happened with that. And there went my opportunity of ever drinking non-alcoholic beers again. Not for just the reason that, like I said, I'm going to find the loophole, but now my wife's never going to trust me if I drink non-alcoholic beer again because she found out that just like anything else, I'm going to find a way. And that's just the way my mind works. So, that's why I'm talking about this today, because I get this question quite often. People ask me, I'm thinking about drinking non-alcoholic beers and what's your opinion on it and stuff like that. And, like I said, in my mind, I think they're a bad idea. And that's just my opinion. They don't work for me. I'm not saying that they won't work for you, but, for anybody that just wondering what my opinion is, like I said, in my eyes, I think it's a bad idea because for the most of us or majority of us, we just always take things too far. Like I said, we all are looking for loopholes all the time. We're looking for a way in. And, if we can sneak our toe past it, we're going to just bolt. And that's just the way it works. It's the reason that we have a problem with alcohol or substances because we take everything too far. We don't have, there's no self-control whatsoever. We can't just have 2 drinks on a Friday night and say, I'm starting to feel a little good. I think I'm going to stop because I got stuff to do with my kids tomorrow and I'm just going to go ahead and call it a night. No, that's not the way it works for us. We go out on a Friday night knowing good and well that we've got our kids' football game at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning or whatever it is. And, we just start feeling good and knowing that we should stop. It's 9 o'clock on a Friday night and we're hanging around with all of our neighbors and we're like, probably need to call it a night, but screw that. I'm feeling great right now. I'm going to keep going. And before you know it, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. You're trying to get to your bed and everything's spinning. You can barely walk. You lay down, the room's spinning all around and doing this whole thing like that. And next thing you know, you're throwing up and, the whole thing happens and you wake up the next morning, supposed to go to your kid's football game. And then guess what? You feel too bad. And then there you go again, telling your son or your daughter, I'm sorry, I'm just not feeling good this morning. Mom or dad's going to have to take you. I'm not going to be able to make it. I think I've got a flu, or, I think I've got a cold, or, that hamburger that we ate yesterday, I think it made me sick. Whatever lie that we come up with. And I'm not saying that anybody out there does that. I'm sure there are people that are or have. I'm just talking for myself because that used to happen all the time with me. Like I said, I used to break promises with my children all the time. It's one of the reasons now why when I tell my kids I'm going to do something, no matter what is going on with me, it's just like last weekend. I'd already told my son I was going to take him camping. My back was hurting so bad. My back was screaming, heck no, don't go. You can't do this. But my mind was telling me, you have to. You can't break promises with your kids anymore. Because I used to do it all the time. And today's video is not about that. But I just wanted to throw that little bit in. But anyway, like I said, I don't think it's a great idea. But if it's something that you've tried in the past and you think that you have enough self-control to drink them and not allow it to become a problem, or even get to a point where you're drinking a 12-pack of non-alcoholic beers every single day, that's not good either. The thing is that some of those non-alcoholic beers is one of the things you have to be careful for. It actually do contain a very small, minute amount of alcohol in them. It's like 0.5%. But if you were to sit down and drink a 12-pack of beer really fast at 0.5%, you might potentially catch a little buzz. If you've been sober for the past 10 years and then you sit down and drink a whole 12-pack of NA beers, like I said, that have 0.51% alcohol in them, you might catch a buzz. You might get that feeling again. And then what? Are you going to start feeling good and then take off to the liquor store or take off to the store and get some more beer? I mean, there's just no telling, or are you going to drink one of those non-alcoholic beers and it's going to trigger you? Is it going to be one of those things where you're like, man, this tastes so good. Now I want the real thing. This is just not good enough. There's just a whole lot of doors that this could open up in your life. And if you've been doing a great job staying sober, why introduce more problems? Why introduce the what if into your life? Is it really that worth it? Would a soda water or maybe even a soda not suffice? I'm not saying that drinking a cold Coca-Cola or a Dr. Pepper or a Mountain Dew or something like that is good for you, because it's not. It's horrible for you. But drinking one of them on a Friday night, or drinking a Coke on a Saturday night, or 2 Cokes on a Saturday night while you're hanging around with family and friends, rather than drinking alcohol, I would say is a heck of a lot better for you than sitting down and drinking a whole bottle of Grey Goose. And I'm just saying, once again, soda's not good for you, but it's better for you than liquor or alcohol. Maybe just have a soda, maybe have a cup of juice, maybe have some coffee, maybe a hot tea, who knows, whatever you like. Just really think about it before you go playing around with NA beers or NA drinks or mocktails or any of that stuff, because it could potentially trigger you and make you say, the heck with this, I want to go get the real thing. Or you might end up doing what I was doing, utilizing those empty NA beer containers and filling them back up with the real thing, and then walking around all hunky-dory like everything's okay, and it's not. You're still getting drunk. Once again, I don't think they're a great idea, but if they work for you and, you haven't had a problem with them in the past, that's awesome. And I'm happy for you. Continue doing whatever's working for you. I'm more or less talking to the people that have never tried them before, especially people that are brand new in sobriety. If you're on day 10 of sobriety right now and you're thinking about drinking an NA beer, probably not the best idea. I used to do it all the time. I would tell my wife, I really want a beer right now. I would be on day 3 or something. I'd say, can you please stop by the grocery store on your way home or the liquor store and grab me a 6-pack of NA beers? She'd do it for me. Bring them home. I would start drinking them. And before you know it, I got to run to the store and grab some cigarettes really quick. I was running to the store to buy some more alcohol because the NA beer just kind of tipped me over the edge where I had to have the real thing. But that might not be your case. Once again, I'm not saying what you will or will not do because I don't know. Only you know the answer to that. The only thing I can say is what my experience has been with non-alcoholic beverages, and it didn't work out good for me. And once again, will it work out good for you? I don't know. You just really do me a favor. Sit down and think long and hard about this. Is the taste of beer just going to set you off? Were you a beer drinker back in the day? Were you a liquor drinker, a wine drinker, whatever it is? Was beer your drink of choice, and now you're going to drink an NA beer? Is it a good idea? Once again, only you know the answer to that. Me personally, I wouldn't do it, but once again, only you know the answer to what happens in your life and what's going to happen with your sobriety and what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with. But once again, I just wanted to share my experience today and what happened with me with that. It did not work out. I relapsed because of it. I'm not going to say because of it, but it kind of, like I said, opened up a door for me. It made relapse just a little bit easier for me to do so. And I'm just one of those people that always looks for a loophole. I'm always looking for a way in. I'm always looking for that way to sneak the alcohol in, whatever it is. And I just know myself, so I just stay away from all that kind of a thing. And I just stick to drinking coffee, water, soda waters. I have a diet soda here and there. I drink diet ginger ale a good bit. Probably one a day because I get nauseous so much, and that's just it works for me. I'm not sitting around drinking a 12-pack of soda every single day, but, once again, I just drink different beverages. Those are what work for me. Non-alcoholic beverages just don't work for me, but that's me personally. Once again, I don't know what's going to work for you. Just do me a favor. Think long and hard about it. And, think, are you the type of person that might look for those loopholes like I did? But if it's something that you really think is going to work for you, you're going out to a get together on tomorrow night. You're going to a cookout or something, and you just want to enjoy your time drinking a mocktail or drinking an NA beer, and you think you're going to be fine, and that's just what you want to do. If you think you're going to be good to go with it, then go for it. But like I said, just think really hard about it because it did not work for me. It never worked for me. I tried it multiple times, and every single time I ended up going back to drinking. But anyway, once again, thank you so much for being here today. I really do appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, once again, welcome. I'd love to meet you. Let me know in the comments who you are. I try my best to reply to every single comment on all the videos. So here recently, back last week and stuff, I was having a hard time getting everything, but I'm really trying this week to get back and replying to every single one of the comments on every single one of the videos, including the shorts. I did want to say really quick that due to some issues I've had here recently, I have to go through and approve the comments. So if you leave a comment and it doesn't pop right up, just hang tight. I have to go on my computer and approve all the comments, and I'm doing that every couple hours, approving all the comments, letting them come through, and then I'm going back and replying to everything. So just I'm sorry that this is the way it is. Like I said, I've just had some issues here recently, and this is just something I have to do for the time being. I'm sorry it's inconvenient. It's just, the nature of the beast. But anyway, I will publish your comment as long as there's nothing, nasty on there or something like that. I will go in there and publish it. If you post in the middle of the night, I'm probably going to be asleep. As soon as I wake up first thing in the morning, I go on there and publish everybody's comments. I go through them really quick, make sure there's nothing bad in there or whatever, and then I publish. So I just want to let you guys know that's what's going on with the comments right now. I got a question this morning. Someone was asking where are the comments at. They're just sitting there waiting for me to approve them. So please continue to comment. I will do my best to approve them as fast as I possibly can. It's just like I said, something I'm dealing with right now. So anyway, once again, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. And until tomorrow, I will see you guys then. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.